Okay, today I'm going to show you how to take off a Shram XD driver cassette, and more importantly how to put one back on. You'll need a couple of specialized tools. One is this. It's the cassette remover. It has the splines that match the cassette. And then under that I have what's called a chain whip, and that's because when you loosen it, it'll want to freewheel the hub, so you want to put some pressure on it, and it's better than grabbing it with your hands and slashing your palms open. Now, truth be told, this cassette has already been removed because it took me hours, and I finally had to get some outside help to get it off because it was installed incorrectly from the factory and it was completely seized on to the hub. But I'll show you anyways what you should be doing. So basically what you do is you take the chain whip, put it along one of the middle cogs, and this will just be used to put opposite tension on it, and you loosen it in a regular lefty-loosey fashion. So this tool goes in here, and then you want to provide some pressure in the opposite direction, and then you crank it off like so. And that's pretty much it. It's fairly simple. And once that's done, again, normally you have to do a lot more pressure, but this one is already off. I just wanted to show you what it looks like. And then you lift it off the driver. Now, here's where they messed up at the factory, and here's where I'm not going to mess up. Is if you look at it, you'll see that they put some grease on the mating surface, but they put absolutely nothing on the threads. The threads are completely bare. So they essentially, all the grit and dirt and water and everything that's gotten into this for the last 2.5 years that I've been using it has essentially fused it together. So what I'm going to do is I'll grab some all-purpose cleaner and clean everything off. And this is basically a bike degreaser. And I'll make sure that I clean the threads. I clean any old gunk and grease and everything off of the hub itself. And the most important part to make sure you clean is going to be the threads, because you want those to be perfect so that it's not seized on again. You can also see these splines that they made to. You want to inspect them, make sure that they're not worn. As you can see, mine are. I'm actually kind of shocked. I was expecting them to look a little chewed up, but they look brand new. So I'm just going to soak this rag in a bit of cleaner and just thoroughly clean these threads. I have a few things that you could use here. Some people say, there you go, now you can see that it's an XD compatible hub. That was all obscured by dirt and grease before. Now what I would suggest doing is apply just a thin coat of grease to anything that's going to be in contact. So I'm going to put a little bit here and just a little bit on these splines. That'll keep any moisture, dirt, everything like that out. Moisture, dirt, water, just a little bit. It'll also keep your hub from creaking. So bikes are notorious for all sorts of nasty creaks. And I'm just using, by the way, the Park Tool General Grease. I think it's PPL1. Park Tool PPL1. I'm going to just smear it all over here, make sure that it's even. You don't have to put a lot on here because the tolerances are pretty tight, but this will keep things nice and resistant to water and whatnot. Now, some people suggest grease on the threads. I like using Loctite, or sorry, not Loctite. I like using Never Seas. It's made specifically for this purpose. So I was going to use this, just some automotive anti-seize solution. However, much to my surprise, and a very pleasant surprise, so I'm putting a GX52, 10 to 52 on it. It comes never seized in the threads. You can see a gray paste, and it even comes with a little bit of grease on that end of it. So it's very well prepared from Sram. So I'm just going to put the tiniest little amount on the threads, but I don't even think it's really necessary because Sram has already done a good job of it. But just to show you, I put a little bit on here, a little Never Seas on the threads, and that way we ensure that you're not battling it for hours like I did, and because it is a very frustrating experience. So there you go. I've got Never Seas on the threads. I've got a good amount of grease on the rest of the hub, and now I'm ready to put it back together. I'll admit I tend to go overboard with grease, mainly because there are very few instances where too much grease is a problem. Worst case scenario, it just kind of squeezes out, and that's that. So then basically what you do is you drop it on, and it's supposed to be about 40 Newton meters, but really as long as it's nice and tight, you're good. So drop it on, make sure it's good, and you don't need any special tools because to hold it, because it goes on in the direction that the hub is locked anyway. And you just need this spline tool. This is the same for all XD drivers, so that's GX, X01, XX1, and I think NX, but not SX. Double check that, but basically just tighten it until it feels good. You can even use the hub itself to ratchet, and that's it. It's a pretty simple solution on the way back, and that's it. So you can save yourself a few bucks doing this yourself, and make sure, oh, there we go. Now we're nice and tight, and that's it. We have ourselves a new cassette in a few minutes, and now I've ensured that I've got grease on it, I've got Never Seas on it, or anti-seize on it, so I know that the next time I have to take it off, it's not going to be a pain. So thanks for watching, and I'll update more when I put my whole AXS or Axis drivetrain on. Thank you for watching. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to cover, and happy trails.